Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Lisa Bassini and I'm from a company called The Baking Coach. Today we're going to make lavender shortbread cookies. So before we get started, let's identify everything that we're going to need. This video is strictly for method only, so you do either need the kit or a recipe. So let's get started. We have in this bowl 1 stick of unsalted softened butter, room temperature. Not melted, just at room temperature, so it's nice and soft. And then I also have some granulated sugar, vanilla extract, an egg, some salt, which is going to go into the flour. Let's just get it into the flour so we are good, so we don't forget it, okay? Then we also have some extra flour for rolling. So when we're shaping our dough, our lavender. So in the lavender are little lavender seeds, which is perfect. And I'll show you the seeds. These are all seeds, but there are some stems. So I don't really like the stems. So if you can pull out your stems, and I'll show you what a stem looks like. It just looks like a little blade of grass. You want to get those out, okay? So pull out as many stems as you can. And ours is good enough. So the next thing you're going to need is some more sugar for making like a lavender sugar. So I'm going to put these two together. This is our extra sugar, which is our second package of sugar. And then you'll also need a little bit of milk at the end. So I'm going to get my brush and I'll show you what we're going to do with that at the end. Okay, I was just messing around with cocoa powder the video before, so I got a little bit on my sleeve. Okay, so let me just start mixing up our butter. I'm going to check one. Yeah. Now I'm going to add in our first batch of granulated sugar, which is the first half a cup that goes into the dough. Good. We're going to get in our extract because I'm going to use the same bowl. Never crack your egg directly into the bowl you're mixing with. Always crack it into something else. And it's great if it's glass, because then you can really see if there's a shell or not. Get that in there. Mix it up. Perfect. Now I'm going to just get rid of my hand mixer. I don't need that anymore. Whoops. Mix the rest of this by hand. First thing I want to do is get my flour mixture in there. Get rid of everything I'm not using anymore. Those to the side. Slowly mix in butter and my sugar. Thank you. Oh, thank you. I forgot my ruler. The ruler is an essential part, and I'm going to tell you why. Because you have to measure the length of your cookie dough, and you want to make sure that it's going to be 14 inches in length. So let me just get a pair of gloves on because it's a little boring if you watch me wash my hands. So I'm going to throw these on really quick. I want to pull this together. Go. Mix together my dough. Gonna make a you know, a little bit of a, this is a shortbread dough, so it's going to be a little bit soft. Get all that butter off of your hand. Just squeeze it together and it'll come together. It's not going to come together in a second. It's going to take a little bit of work, but it will, because as your hand is squeezing the flour in, it's working in with the butter. And you're melting the butter with your bare hands. You didn't know you were so strong. All right, here's my dough. Okay, let's get it out of the bowl. Now get rid of this. And I'm going to start to shape it. If you roll this on parchment paper, you may not need any additional flour. But if you feel like it's a little too sticky, then by all means, use a little bit more flour. I don't even think I need to at this point. Could be because it's a beautiful dry day. So now I want to measure it. So this is a foot. And then put a little mark. Make sure you got that extra. Perfect. Bingo. Okay, so there we have our 14-inch log. And the reason why we do that is because this makes 28 cookies. So we're going to cut the log about a 1/2 inch apart, and that'll make 28 cookies. There we go. So we'll take this, wrap it in plastic wrap, and set it in the freezer. Now I'm going to take out one that we have prepared. The dough is nice and firm. Rested. I'm going to use my little baby mini chop, and I'm going to infuse my lavender and my sugar together. Now you could use something else if you wanted to. You could just use a sandwich bag and a rolling pin, but you want to kind of get these two to blend together. If you have a big food processor, you could use that. Just give it a little once. If you have a little food processor, and right away it will start to, just to kind of blend it in there together. There we go. You could go a little long. Oh, wow. You could just, this just smells so good. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the milk that we have, and I'm going to brush the log with the milk. And then I'm going to roll one side at a time. So I've got my milk on there, and I'm going to get my sugar out, and I'm going to place it on, and then we're going to roll it and continue to roll it into the sugar. Get a little bit more. So we want to coat the edges of our dough with this sugar mixture. Get it so it sticks. Do a little bits at a time. Okay. I didn't get that side, and I rolled it before I did that. Bad baking coach. Okay. You have a little bit more than what you need, but it's just so that you can kind of make this amazing crust of sugar and lavender on your cookies. There you go. Okay, so now that we have that, you want to get it away from anywhere where it's wet and keep trying to make this crust of sugar and lavender on your cookies. There you go. Just be careful with your milk, and you don't want to break it in half. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do, some people use a, can you grab me another sheet of parchment? Some people use a, I would probably recommend brushing your log. You could, one or two ways. Let me just move this for a second. You could brush your log entirely and then roll it, or roll it and do it in sections of a time. which is what I just did. I did it in sections. I do it both ways. Okay, thank you. Now, I've got my log here. You can use, sometimes people use dental floss that's not just plain wax dental floss. Or I'm going to cut my log directly in half, and then I will cut it again into these 1/2-inch pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we want to get 14 and 14. So once you cut it, I'm going to give you this one, you'll see you'll have a little bit of the sugar on the outside, and then you place them on the baking sheet about 2 inches apart, just like that. And then you bake them in the oven for the recommended amount of time that's listed on the recipe. Now, I want to show you what these look like when they are done. Let me wipe my hands real quick. Okay. Here we have some baked shortbread cookies. They're still very, very light in color, but as you can see, there we go, and you can see the sugar on the outside, and those are the delicious lavender shortbread cookies. Well, I want to thank you so very much for joining me. My name is Lisa Bassini, and I'm from The Baking Coach. If you have any questions or want to know anything more about this workshop, or you need the recipe, just reach out to us at bakingcoach.com. Thanks so much for joining us now. Bye-bye.